Blind Press, YouTube, and Twitch. So I'm gonna be covering a bunch of Can Polly today. Got a video where members of parliament are reacting to Polyev because he will be putting a motion of no. And then we've got what didn't Diddy do? And he has been arrested. And we are going to get into all of them, or maybe you're just getting off of work if you're in the Western time zones. Or maybe it's like midnight for you and we are just going to hang out and have a wonderful time and laugh at the insanity that we are about to witness. You know, and apparently I don't understand why I don't want to be a cyborg, and I'm just like, no, I love Star Trek, but no, this is not sight. This is like plugging into your brain, and your brain isn't even supposed to handle input like that. Like, your brain is just totally not supposed to be holding or getting information that way. And it's not gonna work. It's gonna kill a bunch of people. Like, their brains are just gonna overload, and it's gonna kill a whole bunch of people. It's not going to do what is said. And I am just not for it. I am not for it at all. And anybody that wants me to, like, get dick about this, it's like, and somebody commented that they don't want to be insensitive, but at some point choosing to be handicapped is just going to be a choice. And it's like, I'm sorry, the choice is either be a cyborg or be ostracized because you don't want stuff beamed into your head. I don't understand. Why is that Android, all this shit? Why must we be computers? Why can't we just be humans? We've got we've got a stream goal too. That I'm hoping to crush. So the link's pinned in the chat and in the description. We're gonna start with a video about Coco Melon from Sunny VTube, though, to start everything off with. It's the most evil channel on YouTube, according to Sunny VTube. It's not educational. It doesn't teach kids anything. It's just mindless songs with pictures attached to it and videos, and I disagree with Coco Melon. I didn't like my kids watching it when they were younger. And here we go. Let's take a look at this video.
Speech therapy, yeah, so and I've been letting him watch Coco Melon. My son is almost 2 and I've been letting him watch Coco Melon. But now I had to get him speech therapy, yeah, so I can get him to talk.
Yeah, that's Coco Melon. It doesn't educate. It's just pictures and colors that
mentioned the exact same problem. The Coco Melon show issues amongst the kids who can't stop watching.
Yeah, and it's part of when you give a literal hissy fit, and lose their shit because if you won't let them watch it, it's scary. There are videos showing the temper tantrums, and it is just insane to watch a toddler go that crazy over a screen.
Children's TV expert Jerica Sands calls it the most damaging show a child can watch, explaining the sneaky ways in which they make the show addictive. Firstly, there's the colors. Take for example the wheels on the bus. The three main colors, blue, green and yellow, are all at maximum saturation, meaning they cannot be made any brighter no matter how hard you try. Extreme saturation is normally used for alerts and notifications, as it's exciting, dynamic and attracts attention, which is why it's also used in slot machines.
So, and slot machines, how addictive are they, right? You push the button, the crazy colors happen, and even if you lose, you want to push the button again, right? And so if they have these oversaturated colors for kids programming, then the kids are going to want to keep watching.
Cocomelon puts these colors in perfect contrast, making them appear even more vibrant, which is different to, for example, Bluey, in which the colors instead blend together. Cocomelon's also different because it's highly repetitive. There's a reason they have 38 videos with over 1 billion views. A child's brain is wired to learn through repetition, so it feels right to them to watch the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, that's why kids will watch their favorite movie on repeat or listen to their favorite song on repeat, because that's what kids, that's how kids learn. That's what makes them feel good.
Cocomelon abuses this in almost every video. For example, in the Yes Yes Playground song, they pick a word to repeat 3 times in every sentence, pairing it with a subtly repeating background lullaby, keeping children hooked. Literally no show or movie puts my son into a deep trance the way Cocomelon does. The second it's on
That's
the TV,
insane.
he turns into a toddler zombie who doesn't see or hear anything else.
That is so scary. And I've seen it with my kids when they were sick. They would put on Cocomelon and they would just zone out. And I would have to just turn off the show and be like, okay, no, we're not doing that.
This is only exacerbated by Cocomelon's subtitles, which have also been a heavy point of criticism. The letters are not educational, I can barely read them fast enough. It's simply another interesting element to capture your little one's attention.
Oh, so they're not even actual subtitles.
The goal is to help make learning a fun content, but people have argued that they're teaching. He refuses to brush his teeth, have a bath, put on pajamas or get in bed. The education is that he eventually agrees to do so, yet a TikTok user was critical, stating, "Anytime I'd ask my son to do a simple task, he'd say no, no, no. He's sitting there watching Cocomelon, which taught him no, 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 and to say no to me."
That's true. That is true. And the baby doesn't actually, like, the education is not that the baby learns that bedtime is helpful or sleeping the song. There are shows that teach about bedtime properly. Like, there was a show that my oldest loved. There were kid trains in the show. There was one episode where a train and he couldn't do it, right? And so that was a lesson, right? You need sleep, because then you won't be able to sleep. Then just no. Okay, fine.
On the topic of education, Jerica Sands stated, "These people don't give a shit about our children. They care about, and there's pretty good evidence of children hooked. Cocomelon wear black jeans or blue jeans? Should the music be louder or softer? Should the bus be yellow or red? Yellow is the answer, as they use a darker method to ensure that they're correct, and shown a handful of episodes to figure out exactly which parts of the shows are engaging and which are tuned out. Next to the TV playing Cocomelon, there's a set, each lasting about 20 seconds. Whenever a youngster looks away from the Moonbug show to glimpse the Distractotron, a note is jotted down. We can see what they're looking at and the exact moment when they got distracted."
Okay, so they're literally analyzing what is not flashy enough, and they look at the boring, like, oh, here's somebody getting a coffee or getting a haircut. Then they will know, okay, cut that part out of the show, because that's not going to keep the kid hooked. That's awful.
kids' attention is, and this is proven by Cocomelon. It's the same makes the videos addicting to watch. Count the seconds between a change of frame.
I've actually seen a TikTok where I think it was like a parent was doing something like that where they were counting the seconds between the frame.
This. He firstly counts the changes on My Little Pony, concluding there's about 6 seconds between each cut. He then compares it to Cocomelon.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Yeah, this is the video that I was just talking about.
1, 2, 1. 1.
In her video, The Nightmare That Is Cocomelon, Savantix draws a similar conclusion. She found that 96% of the shots in Baby Shark were shorter than 2 seconds. She then compares 4 different animated shows, again finding Cocomelon has the shorter shots.
The longest shot on a Cocomelon video was 6 seconds. The longest shot on Arcane was 8 seconds. The longest shot on Bluey was 27 seconds. And the longest shot on Encanto was 18 seconds.
Which, when combined with every other element, creates some terrifying statistics. Dr. Kristen Summer explained that when showing an infant normal video content, they'll focus on the screen just 11% of the time.
Yeah, because it's not that big, flashy preschooler Clockwork Orange. You're right. Adventures in a Subaru Outback. You are absolutely correct.
However, stories such as this. I used to volunteer for a preschool and they had song time. A Cocomelon video came on and all of the tots stopped what they were doing, put down their cheese crackers, and remained fixated on the screen for the duration of the video.
Oh my God.
It was honestly kind of terrifying.
That is automatically just stop. Just stop everything, put their food down, and just stare.
YouTuber Saberspark shared his own personal anecdote. He asked to watch a Disney movie with his 2 younger cousins, who both completely refused, and instead spent all day glued to an iPad playing the addictive show. In Cocomelon Made My Kid a Zombie, a mother talks about her son. He would be in a daze while watching it. You could be waving your hand right in front of his face, and he wouldn't move. It was almost scary.
Almost? No, that is scary. That is terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. As much of an issue that I have with my kids and screens, I can still get their attention.
To explain when the Cocomelon addiction is so real.
Holy fuck. The 1-year-old. The 1-year-old has figured out
TikTok trend change instantly. The New York Times journalist found something similar. The kid in the Distractotron had shown up in the midst of a tantrum, which ended the second he heard the Cocomelon theme song.
Huh. Interesting. Interesting. That's fascinating. The second he heard the song, his tantrum just cut out. Wow. I mean, like, I've seen that happen with other shows, but not like that.
It was no surprise to Wheeler, the head of research. 99% of kids, he said, if they're having issues when they get here, once that Cocomelon song comes on, they're like, life is okay. All is good with the world.
That's not good.
Of addiction and withdrawal way, explaining he'll be inconsolable for at least 10.
Again, I don't agree. Like, I don't agree with parents filming their kids having a temper tantrum. We're having a freak off and a pissing contest. I hope you saw the short, Sparky. I did it yesterday for you.
Once you have a taste of the cocoa, it's hard to break the addiction, which this Reddit user had experienced even worse. My husband and I have been worried about our child. I can slowly see how she'd throw violent tantrums at home and in church whenever she'd get bored and would want to watch the show. Her behavior changes the moment she watches the show, and she will not even eat her meals if she wouldn't watch it.
Okay, that is absolutely terrifying. Won't eat, won't behave unless she gets to watch Cocomelon specifically. That, like, I've heard of kids wanting to watch TV and being little shits about it. But, like, specifically that show, like, that is scary.
After these tantrums end, kids can experience a general discomfort in the speed of
Play Cocomelon over
in frame, but it I can't. The dollar store doesn't have it.
However, the potential consequences
Bargain store doesn't have it.
This. As mentioned at the start, it was the cause of a child's speaking problems, with a notable reply reading, same thing happened with He's been watching these Cocomelons or such other stuffs for 2
street called Baby Bear. And Baby Bear has a speech impediment. He can't say his R's.
Do you have another window open running?
Screen time in general is like other TV shows or movies. It doesn't have a story. It's just very short clips
W and R thing.
Songs. The kids aren't able to follow the plot.
We find that little one's language development is slower.
On the Agents of Speech YouTube channel, this is again confirmed.
The main problem with watching videos on the internet is that they don't know how to use the language that they learn.
But he adds that 4 to 5 hours of screen time per day can make a toddler completely non-verbal. 4 to 5 hours is obviously a lot of time.
I thought Teletubbies were bad at times, but this is far, far worse. Adventures in the Subaru Outback, you're right. That's very true. We're trying to come up with a way for me to get, to stay in frame without me jumping out of the frame.
Made my kid a zombie. Researchers discovered that 5-year-olds who watch more times more likely to show America Sans. Not all screen time is created equal. A child who just watched 30 minutes of Cocomelon and a child who just watched 30 minutes of Trash Truck will look like a very, very different child. Thankfully, here lies a simple solution. Sierra Renee explained my 2-year-old is speech delayed and addicted to Cocomelon. Switched to Miss Rachel 2 days ago, and he's already saying more words and hasn't had any tantrums.
Yeah, Miss Rachel is supposed to be really, really good. There are some other good shows that teach really good, like, friendship and social skills. Trucktown is another one. The conversion rate was a great thing. Oh, awesome. We're almost we're $20 away from we've got an $80 stream goal, but we're $20 away from the game goal.
Almost identical anecdote. My 8-month-old was obsessed with Cocomelon and having bad tantrums, so I cancelled Cocomelon and only let her watch Miss Rachel, and she said her first word within the first 3 days of watching.
8 months old though, holy shit. That's crazy.
Clearly, parents are able to simply change the channel, but not before leaving Cocomelon a massive amount of dislikes. They've therefore earned the title, the absurdly popular kids show parents hate, and Cocomelon has actually...
Huh? I guess so.
responded to the criticism that explain our shows are not intended to replace outdoor playtime or playdates. They have a place in children's entertainment time, and as with food, exercise, etc., it comes down to each parent to find the right and appropriate balance for their children.
Yep.
Our responsibility is ensuring that the quality of the content that we produce is
You like the conversion rate, Sparky? Yeah, I'm doing that for US donations. I'm doing the conversion rate.
For the development of a child's cognitive and soft skills. It is worth adding that our social media communities are filled with stories of parents who experience firsthand how Moonbug content helps. Some of them are simply ignoring the downsides. My baby learned the alphabet and numbers from Cocomelon. She may not speak a complete sentence, but she expresses her wants through phrases.
That's not good. Let's go to the mini feed here. Oh, thank you, Sparky. I'll do another short. And do another 35. You kick ass, dude. You is the shit.
But is it CoComelon's responsibility to ensure that babies are talking? Well, no. People love blaming cartoons and games for raising children, and not the shitty parents that don't step in to stop them from watching so much.
I spent, like, everything I did with my kids, I narrated when they were babies. And I wasn't like, okay, we're gonna change your diaper, wipey. Like, I was like, okay, mommy's gonna change your diaper now. Okay, oh, I need more wipes. You know, like, I would talk constantly. And they were around Pincalo and I talking. And, and like, and TV, TV, like, what's it called? TV shows that we were watching, like, they weren't looking at the screen per se, but they were looking, or they were listening, right? They were getting information and words and vocabulary through us, and we didn't do baby talk. And that's what these parents don't do, I think. Oops. And it's pathetic. Like, these parents rely on CoComelon to teach their kids. It's absolutely nuts. So, I want you guys to see this. We're gonna break this down, and then we're gonna jump into the Diddy stuff. We're gonna take a look at this trailer, because I want you guys to see what's coming out on Tuesday. And what Sparky just helped with. So here we go. This is the official launch trailer, and we get to see what Ghostface's fatality looks like, which is going to be awesome. So here we go.
What's this?
New skin from Alina.
Havoc. The cleric of chaos is a keeper of time.
Ooh, Havoc is a keeper of time? Oh, that's not good.
This day will not end well.
Geras is not happy.
Begins. Earthrealm's might is at your disposal. What I ask is that together, we try to break the cycle of violence.
It's a Mortal Kombat. It's Mortal Kombat.
Just doing my part. Hope that helps them get you the game you wanted. New
Cyrax.
Beyond you.
Greetings, brother. The future is
There's
chaos.
new Cybot. Oh, he sounds so awesome. Holy shit.
When this crisis ends, we settle our differences.
This story expansion's gonna be sick.
Brutality.
So I found out in the combat cast today, they're adding more brutalities for cameos and main fighters. You're gonna get the cameo brutalities in the shrine, and you're gonna get the main fighter brutalities in the seasonal shop. So that's awesome. And these are all just different brutality compilations. Different animality stuff. I think Sub-Zero is the Mammoth. Liu Kang is the Phoenix.
Booyah!
There's Peacemaker. That's the stuff that we already have. Yeah, animalities. I can't wait for the animalities. They're gonna be so cool.
Finish him.
Fatality compilations. This is the one thing I'm really wanted to see and listen to with headphones on.
Animality.
Here's the ghost face. This is what I wanted to hear. Okay, that's cool. There's the other one. Oh, that's awesome! Dude! That is so cool! That is so freaking awesome! Oh! If you were in the Mortal Kombat realm, what would your brutality and fatality look like? Ooh! So, my fatality would probably be, putting my cane folded up through, like, this part and just, like, stabbing my, like, trying to, like, having, like, a pencil tip on it and stabbing the heart with the pencil tip and pulling it out. My brutality would be, like, I wrap my cane around, like, I take the folding and stretch it out with the elastic and, like, wrap it and tie it. Yeah, I've thought about this a little bit. I love the laugh. I love the laugh. Tuesday, you guys. Tuesday, and you know what I'm gonna do this weekend? I'm gonna play the story mode. Because we need to replay the story mode. Okay. That's exciting. That's exciting, and I'm very happy. That makes me happy. Okay. We're gonna switch gears now to our politics. To our lovely Canadian politics. And our first video is members of parliament are reacting to Poilievre, Pierre Poilievre of no confidence next week, and members of parliament are reacting to this. So we're gonna take a quick...
You're going to see another spectacular stunt from NDP leader Jagmeet Singh.
I think this is Andrew Scheer speaking, and he was the leader of the Conservative Party at one point. He is obviously now just a member of parliament.
Just a couple of weeks ago, he, in very dramatic fashion, pretended that he had ripped up the agreement with the Liberals. He put on a big display of theatrics. He called this government weak.
You didn't consider including my cane? Yeah, and I just thought of that up on the spot, like with using my cane. But I've always wanted to use my cane as a weapon.
Beholden to corporate interests. But then he was asked over and over again whether or not he would actually vote. No confidence in this government and give Canadians the carbon tax election they so desperately want. In fact, he was asked 49 times, and he refused to answer. Now we know why. He had to wait until the Bloc Québécois announced what they would do, because it was all for show. He was never actually serious about putting an end to this corrupt and incompetent government that has doubled housing costs, driven up prices through inflation, and hiked the carbon tax over and over again. He's not...
It's true, though. Like, he waited until the Bloc Québécois won Montreal and till he won the Winnipeg election. Now are like, no, we're not going to vote non-confident.
Until the Bloc Québécois made their decision. And what he's effectively done is he's made his vote completely irrelevant.
Yep.
As long as the Bloc Québécois vote to keep Justin Trudeau in power, it doesn't matter what the NDP will actually do.
And the NDP only have... Well, why am I not looking this up? Let's get the actual numbers. Breakdown of the seats in the current Canadian House of Commons. Okay, let's get this. Let's see. Party standings in the House of Commons. 153. CPC 119. Bloc Québécois has 33. 25? Oh, I have to click the actual link for the NDP. God damn it. I don't want to go here. I just want to see the stupid thing. How many? So the Green Party has less than 12 seats. Yeah, 25, I'm pretty sure.
It was all a stunt.
Yep.
The only way to provide relief for Canadians, to put an end to the cost of living crisis, to bring down prices and interest rates, to axe the carbon tax, to put an end to the crime and drug crisis in our communities by ending Justin Trudeau's catch and release policies, to lower housing costs by building homes once again in our country, is by electing a common sense conservative government. So don't be fooled by whatever Jagmeet Singh does this afternoon, because he has very carefully stage managed all of this to make sure that he keeps Justin Trudeau in power.
And we are going to watch. We are going to watch Question Period very carefully today, because I actually got a news headline across my phone saying that Jagmeet Singh very definitively in the House of Commons today.
Now I'll just allow my colleague to make a few remarks in French, then we'll be happy to take a few questions.
We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of our question period, because it is 1 hour, 11 minutes. Oh, God. They didn't cut out the statements? Oh, fuck.
It all proved
To the Department
God damn it.
And astonishing
young people engaged in taking
page in the House.
Where the hell is
that
the
tenant
oral questions? There it is.
Them too. And
okay.
Mr.
Here we go.
Back
up.
Young Eagles.
There we go.
Mr. Speaker, the Premier of the Quebec Nation said today...
The Quebec Nation. I love that. The fucking Quebec Nation.
That the Liberal government's decision to double the number of temporary immigrants, bringing it to 600,000...
Holy shit.
...will imperil social services for Quebecers. Will the leader of the Bloc Québécois listen to what the Premier of the Quebec Nation is asking?
Interesting. He's going after the leader of the Bloc Québécois right now. Interesting indeed. Okay.
Who is asking that the Bloc Québécois not support the Liberal government next week, and that they support the interests of Quebec and the Quebec Nation.
Oh shit! François Legault does not want the Bloc Québécois to support the Liberals. Oh, interesting.
The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement.
Why is he answering?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would just like to say that, like you, I used to be a page in the House of Commons, and I'd like to thank and welcome the new cohort of pages.
Oh, fuck off.
We know that their responsibilities and services are extremely important.
You could have done that in
Thank
the
you for being here with
declarations
us.
and statements part.
Now, it's laughable what the leader of the opposition is saying. He's saying that we should cut to help Quebecers, including in healthcare, childcare, and so on. Thank you.
That's it? Wait. That's your answer? That's the only thing you're gonna say? Minister of Public Safety, or Minister of what?
Before moving on to the next question, I'd like to remind all members that it's important that questions have to do with questions of this government's administration.
When they're mad that Polyev is pointing out a very good point. That the Parti Québécois does not want the Bloc Québécois to support the Liberal Party anymore.
In order to address issues of responsibility here in this House of Commons, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition. It's not just the Premier of the Quebec nation, but also the PQ in Quebec.
How can you know a politician is lying? Their lips are moving. That's very true, their adventures. Very true.
That is condemning this centralizing, expensive government. He said that this government voluntarily destabilized Quebec, and that's an abuse of power by the federal government. The Bloc Québécois is propping up a party that is abusing Quebec, according to the PQ. Why has the leader of the Bloc Québécois abandoned the Parti Québécois and all Quebecers?
Oh, fuck. Oh, damn. This is brutal. This is absolutely brutal. And I bet you Fergus is going to tell him he can't ask that question.
To keep the most centralizing prime minister in history in power.
Oh, yeah. Yep, here we go. Once again, another time.
Once again, and with great regret, this is a matter that has nothing to do with the federal government.
Well, actually, it does. It really does. You're just not allowing him to ask a member of parliament who is propping up a government that is absolutely incompetent, and I think Polyev should be allowed to ask the Bloc Québécois member why he's abandoned the Parti Québécois.
That said, I see that the Minister of Canadian Heritage is rising. The Honourable Minister. We know that the last time that Premier Legault decided to become an ally of the Conservatives, we know that Quebecers had their say about that. They didn't like it at all. And we know that Mr. Legault and the leader of the Parti Québécois want to destroy an incredibly important institution for Francophones in Quebec. I'm talking about Radio-Canada. We will always fight for our culture and for Quebecers.
Fuck! Shots fired at the... Wow, that is, okay. That was the Heritage Minister that just did that. Alrighty then.
Monsieur le Président,
Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, the Prime Minister has lost his Quebec lieutenant. He's going to run at the provincial level. But luckily, he's found another Quebec lieutenant. That's the leader of the Bloc Québécois.
Damn.
Who will be voting to increase spending by $500 billion in inflationary spending. He's voting to increase the size of the public service. He's voting in favor of a government that has broken the immigration system.
Yep.
In fact, it is the Conservatives who are the real defenders of Quebec.
That's true. He's not wrong. He's nothing Polyev is saying is incorrect. He is not wrong. The Conservatives are actually pointing out that all of these things are all of these programs that are being put forward are not supposed to be federal programs.
We all knew that the NDP leader had sold out the people and signed on to a costly coalition with this carbon tax prime minister to tax people's food, punish their work, double their housing costs, and unleash crime in their communities.
He's going after Singh now. Is Singh gonna stand up, or is Singh gonna let the House or the Speaker of the House defend him?
But he claimed that he had torn up the carbon tax coalition so that Winnipeggers would not fire him in a by-election. But as soon as the votes were counted, he betrayed them too and taped back together this carbon tax coalition. How can anyone ever believe what he says again?
The chair is in a very uncomfortable situation here. The honorable leader of the opposition.
That's funny. That's too funny. Because the chair, there's nobody for him to actually... There's nobody to answer. Like, Singh's not in the Liberal Party, so he can't answer. And so Polyev just gets to keep talking. So that's pretty awesome.
The NDP leader was terrified he was going to lose a by-election in Winnipeg, a NDP stronghold. So he put out a Hollywood production where he claimed he had torn up the carbon tax coalition onto which he had signed up, that he was going to stop fighting for his pension and start fighting for the people. But once the votes were counted, he betrayed them again. He is a fake, a phony, and a fraud. How can anyone ever believe what this sellout NDP leader says in the future?
Sorry, you're going to get that's not going to be allowed. That's not going to be allowed. Watch, Fergus is going to say something. Yep. Here it goes. Here it goes. Oh, something bad happened that we couldn't hear. Something bad happened that we didn't get to hear. Oh, and they've muted the microphones again. God damn it. I hate when they do that. I really do. I just want to know what's going on. Oh. Children. Jesus. They are pissed off. Holy fuck. This is bad. Holy Jesus. Okay. Wow. Okay, here we go. He's gotten everybody to shut up now.
Colleagues.
Children.
Order.
Children, shut up.
Colleagues, there are some long-standing traditions of this House, which we should endeavor to respect.
Hey, Fergus. Hey, Fergus. Considering that you let Chrystia Freeland basically do whatever the fuck she wants, maybe...
To make government accountable to the people of Canada.
He is! He literally is! Oh my God, Fergus, that's what he's doing. It just so happens that the people that are being held to account are not in the Liberal Party at the moment. But they are still very responsible for what the Liberal Party is doing, because without them, the Liberal Party would be absolutely...
The questions, by their very nature, should be pointed, should be tough, should be specific, and
There's just nobody answering. That's all.
My colleagues, for this to work, we also have to make sure that we work within the rules that we have.
Oh, Fergus, you and your condescension and your, I hate that voice. I hate that voice that he has.
Some important questions which were asked, but were not related to the administration of the government. And therefore, there weren't responses to that. And it is important to make sure that we do that. We have so many other tools available to us as members to make the comments that we need to make outside of question period, to comment about off. There were, I would suspect, although the chair didn't hear that, there might have been some strong words which were exchanged between members.
There might have been some strong words. You think? You think just maybe, just a bit.
I ask members to please remember that Canadians are looking at us. And let us conduct ourselves in a way really befitting of each of our constituencies and the country as a whole. So, avec cela, on va...
So with that...
Oh, Lord. That was painfully condescending. Holy shnikes. That was brutally condescending. Okay, I'm gonna go for another 5 minutes and then I'm gonna do a be right back and go to the bathroom.
Merci aux citoyens.
I'd like to thank the people of La Salle Aymar Verdun for having placed their trust in the Bloc Québécois. Let's be honest, the Bloc Québécois hasn't been in such a good position for more than 15 years. If our priority was our own party, we'd already been in an election campaign. But our priority is the well-being of Quebecers, and Quebecers are worried about seniors' living conditions. That is why we're asking the Liberals to stop discriminating financially against people between 65 and 74. Will they finally raise old age security by 10% for this age category?
See, maybe if you didn't prop up the if you didn't prop up the government like you're doing, then perhaps people would be able to understand. I'd never...
The Honourable Government House Leader, I'd like to thank my colleague in the Bloc Québécois for asking a real question in this house.
Oh, get screwed. Get screwed, lady.
It is very important that we pose questions that have to do with this government's work. This government is here to work
kiss
for
the
Canadians.
speaker's ass. Yep.
And we are here to demonstrate every day what we are doing for Canadians. I would like all members in this house to bear that in mind. The honourable member for La Prairie. The Liberals need to understand
that wasn't an answer to that question.
Something very simple. There are two possibilities, and they both have a price. Either they raise OAS by 10% for 65 to 74-year-olds, or they will pay the price at the ballot box. Liberals will have to choose, and the other parties as well. If you think that old age security is not important, well, try saying it to their face. The Liberals will pay the price one way or another. Are they going to raise OAS by 10%? Yes or no?
So is this what you're gonna... Is this what the Bloc Québécois is going to, what's it called? hinge their confidence on, the old age security thing. Because if that's what they're gonna do, I don't think it's very worth it. I think they should just let Canadians decide at the ballot box anyway. And I think that people need to be allowed to vote finally. I think we need to go. I think we need to get rid of this government. And I also think that I need to go to the washroom because I cannot hold this anymore. Silly coffee and water and Gatorade. So, hold on. I'll mute and I will be right back as quickly as I can. Share the stream and consider hitting up that link. We've got $55 left to go for the day. Okay. Back we go.
The Honourable Minister of Labour and Seniors. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to welcome...
Labour and Seniors, huh?
I'd like to welcome the member for La Prairie to assistance for seniors, because in the past he had not assisted or supported Canadian seniors and services for them. In fact, he voted against lowering the age of retirement to 65, and he voted against increasing the guaranteed income supplement for the poorest Quebecers. And when we implemented
yeah,
a
what
dental
did you
plan,
have in that bill?
what did the member for La Prairie do? He voted
part of
against
the
it.
GIS.
South.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is where it gets gonna get interesting.
The Medical Association is deeply concerned about privatization. Thanks to years of cuts,
wow, he sounds rough. I wonder if he's sick.
Canadians are worried that there's a...
Excuse me, colleagues, I'm having some difficulty hearing from some shouting coming from the latter third of the House. Can I ask all members, please, who do not have the floor to not speak? I'm going to invite the honourable member from Burnaby South to start from the top, please.
The Canadian Medical Association is in our healthcare system. They're worried about the real impacts of a dangerous shortage of frontline healthcare workers, family medicine, family healthcare workers. They're worried about specialist shortages, nurse shortages. The Conservatives want to make people pay to receive healthcare.
Good night,
and the
Adventures.
Liberals are too weak to stop them. Why the Liberals letting conservatives...
Holy shit.
And the conservatives want to make people pay to receive health care. And the liberals are too weak to stop them. Are you drunk? Why the liberals...
Oh, wow. Somebody just literally asked him if... Did you hear that? Are you drunk?
Liberals letting conservatives force people to pay out of pocket to receive health care.
Again, I'm just going to ask members, please, not to take the floor unless they are recognized by the speaker to do so. I know some members would like me to make a more specific intervention. Unfortunately, from the chair, I cannot see who's making that intervention, but I will ask members, please.
Oh, Jesus. And everybody's going to start snitching. It was so-and-so. It was so-and-so. It was him. It was... She did.
To not speak when they're not recognized. The Honourable Minister of Health.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And working together with every province and every territory based on cooperation, $200 billion.
Based on forced cooperation, because you said if they didn't sign it, they wouldn't get their transfer payments.
With the NDP, when they were interested in working with us, we were able to do things like dental care with 650,000 people already getting care. We're able to do things like pharmacare. But unfortunately, the NDP has made a choice. They decided to give in to a bully who's using playbook that comes from...
Did he just laugh?
To give in to a bully who's using playbook
that
comes from a movie like Mean Girls.
Oh my god. Oh my god, he just called Polyev a mean girl? Really? You're gonna call Polyev a mean girl. That's all you've got.
And conservatives are tearing it down.
Liberals promised to help seniors in Quebec with the Aging Well at Home initiative. But Quebecers aren't getting anything because the Liberals and the Legault government are too busy fighting between themselves.
And you are too busy propping them up. So why are you sitting there acting all high and mighty like you actually have a leg to stand on here?
Is the Prime Minister going to stop dragging his feet and finally deliver the assistance to Quebecers? The Honourable Minister of Health.
Choose to continue the work on pharmacare? No. Did they choose to continue the progress on dental? No. Did they choose to make progress on working with provinces and territories in a spirit of collaboration? No. Instead, they yielded to a bully. They abdicated the field. They got afraid. They walked away.
They yielded to a bully. How is it parliamentary to call Polyev a bully? How is that parliamentary language? How is that being allowed?
We're not afraid, Mr. Speaker. We're going to stand up and we're going to fight for public health care in this country. We're going to get it done. We're going to deliver dental care. We're going to deliver diabetes.
Yeah, you yell. You do that.
Every woman has access to contraceptives.
Women do have access to contraceptives. The fuck are you talking about? Oh my lord. Nothing is going to stop us.
The Honourable Member from Regina. The Honourable Member from Regina. The Honourable Member from Regina Capel.
There's Andrew Scheer. What's he gonna say?
After 9 years of this NDP Liberal devaluing their paycheck by supporting Liberal inflationary deficits, he sold out seniors and families by hiking the carbon tax, driving up the cost of food and home heating. And he has sold out young Canadians who have given up on the dream of home ownership thanks to the doubling of housing costs. And what did he sell them out for? To protect his pension. Now,
yeah, literally, because that's the reason, one of the big reasons why they wanted the election to be when it is because they will have then been in government long enough to start collecting a pension even if they get voted out. That's legitimate. Like, I thought that was just like a conspiracy and I did some digging into that, and it's actually true.
Now Canadians have to suffer longer just so he can get paid. So why doesn't the Prime Minister just call a carbon tax election so Canadians can decide?
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I don't think we should be politicizing pensions, but if the
fuck off.
leader wants to talk about
politicizing
their
pensions,
then they should talk about that, because at a time when they are getting millions of dollars, or will be getting millions of dollars in government pensions, they also look to cut the pensions of everyday Canadians.
No, they don't. What are you talking about? And what do you mean they're getting millions of dollars in pensions?
Mr. Speaker, we are here to support seniors no matter where they work, not just parliamentarians with their pensions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member from Regina Capel.
It's Canadian seniors who are cutting back because of this government's cost of living crisis. They're cutting back on food and home heating because he pretended to rip up the agreement, but then would never commit to actually voting non-confidence and giving Canadians the carbon tax election they so desperately want. It was all just a show. So simple question, during all those meetings with the Prime Minister and the leader of the NDP, was the Prime Minister just giving him acting lessons?
Oh, fuck. It's technically a question for the Liberal Party. It's technically he's not asking Singh anything. It's allowed. It's allowed.
The Honourable Minister of Labour and for Seniors.
Mr. Speaker, it's very interesting to hear my friend from Regina Capel, who was around in those days. In fact, he was sitting right where you're sitting, Mr. Speaker, when Prime Minister Harper went to Davos. Yes, Davos. For a and he went there to do what? To tell Canadian seniors that they're about pensions, Mr. Speaker.
Oh yes, get outraged. Get righteously outraged. Yes. Scream and shout. Scream and shout. Come on, scream and shout. Scream and shout.
This is what saving the furniture looks like.
I could have sworn that yesterday was Wednesday. The Honourable Member from Kelowna Lake Country.
After 9 years of the NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up. And the Liberals and the NDP believe in quadrupling the carbon taxes to 61 cents a litre. And this is at a time when 2 million Canadians a month are going to food banks. Seniors are turning down their heat, and people are living in RVs in truck stops. Canadians cannot afford this.
And tent cities and shacks and all sorts of things.
Coalition. When will the Canadians have a carbon tax election so they can decide between the costly NDP Liberal coalition and common sense Conservatives?
The Honourable Minister for Natural Resources and Energy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It would be nice in this House if people actually used facts. At the end of the day...
Please. Oh, please. Mr. from the party that literally lies.
A price on pollution is actually an affordability mechanism.
No, it's not.
To get rid of the carbon rebate will actually be making people who live on modest incomes poorer. At the same time, it will be imperiling the future of our children, abandoning them to a future where we have...
Totally responsible for the man-made climate change that is happening on the planet.
Economists have said that, and the leader of the opposition refuses to talk to any one of them that they can get up and make up these fairy tales.
Fairy tales?
The Honourable Member from Kelowna Lake Country.
It's not a fairy tale that people can't afford to feed themselves in Canada, Mr. Speaker. You know, the NDP leader has voted 24 times for the carbon tax, and the NDP talk a big talk, but they cannot be trusted to do what's best for Canadian families. The NDP Liberals tax your food, punish your work, take your money, double your housing costs, and unleash crime and drugs in your communities. Common sense Conservatives will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. Time is up. When will we have a carbon tax election?
Every time they say that, I picture frickin' Janeway in the Year of Hell at the end of the second episode when Voyager's all fucked up and she rams it into the time ship and she goes, "Time's up." Bam! Just resets everything back to normal. That's what I keep picturing when they say that.
So Canadians can choose their future.
The Honourable Minister of the Environment and for Climate Change.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Setting aside the fact that both the Parliamentary Budget Officer and 300 economists have said that 8 out of 10 Canadians
The
get
Parliamentary
more money
Budget
than they pay
Officer
to carbon
didn't
pricing.
say that.
We have a report
He
today
said
that
the
from
opposite
independent
of that.
organisation,
You
the
guys
Climate
suppressed
Institute,
him because he said it. You guys gagged him.
shows that emissions are down again in Canada, Mr. Speaker, in 2023. The report also shows that without our plan, emissions would be 41% higher. That's the non-plan from the Conservative Party of Canada.
How
That's the
does
in terms of
money
pollution.
How does money make emissions 40% lower? How does the existence of this money in the specific account labeled carbon taxes make emissions go down? How does that work?
Of adding 60 million vehicles on our road, Mr. Speaker. That's what we're talking about here.
Hear, hear. The Honourable Member from Kenora.
After 9 years of this NDP Liberal government, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and now, Mr. Speaker, their time is up. They have ballooned costs and driven up taxes to the point that people are struggling to feed, heat, and house themselves. And it's why Canadians deserve a carbon tax election where they will be able to choose between our common sense plan to axe the tax or the NDP Liberal plan to quadruple the tax. So, Mr. Speaker, why are the NDP continuing to sell out Canadians and support this Liberal government?
Can't ask that. Can't ask that question.
The Honourable Minister for Families and Social Development.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity that the Conservatives have given me to speak about what's up. Do you know what's up, Mr. Speaker? The number of childcare spaces.
Yeah, in your childcare fucking, I don't know what to call it now with the $10 a day subsidized daycare that you guys definitely don't want to pay the full price to subsidize, so everything's gonna get cut eventually.
Available for families.
It's already starting, by the way. Daycare workers are getting laid off. Staff for like food prep and everything are getting laid off.
Across this country. Also, Mr. Speaker, women's participation in the workforce is at an all-time high.
Oh yeah, because in 2024, we really need to worry about women's participation in the workforce. Because, you know, we jumped from 1940 to 1924, or to 2024. And we are, you know, women just, you know, we were just so not working. And now suddenly we're working at unprecedented numbers.
Because of our investments in the early childhood educator workforce, we've also seen that wages have gone up for this workforce, Mr. Speaker. And one more thing, the Canada Child Benefit was raised in the summer, going up.
Going up, what, $25? Because mine didn't.
Struggling to fill their gas tanks, put food on the table, and afford simple, basic necessities. But we know the NDP will only pretend to stand up for Canadians if they can be assured that they have the backing of the bloc to keep this tired and corrupt government in power. 24 times, in fact, the NDP voted in favor of the carbon tax while Canadians are struggling just to get by. So once again, this is why we need a carbon tax election. so that Canadians can choose between our plan or the NDP Liberal plan. Why are they so afraid to give Canadians a choice at the ballot box?
Because they know they'll lose. That's a very simple question. They know for a fact that they will lose, so they don't want the election called. They want to make us suffer until there's no choice.
Some voices are more distinct than others. The honourable member knows who I'm talking about. So I just remind all members to keep their voices unless they're recognized. And that question, there we go.
The honourable member for Shefford. Let's remember that seniors are listening. They've had enough of these evasive answers. It's time to make a decision. All year.
So then why are you okay? If the Bloc is so pissed off about this seniors thing, why are they like, well, we're not going to vote no confidence? Like, why are they saying that? Is lying? Are they saying they're not going to vote no confidence and then they will?
Throughout Quebec, they all agree that Liberals should increase old age security for people between 65 and 74, just as they did for people 75 and over. This is urgent. We cannot create two classes of seniors. Will the Liberals finally put an end to the system
two classes of everyone
and
else.
Increase OAS by 10% from 65 years of age? The Honourable Minister of Labour and Seniors. Mr. Speaker, I know that the Bloc Québécois don't like to hear this, but votes and other actions have consequences. The Bloc Québécois voted against the dental care program, the National Dental Care Program.
Because those things are provincial already. And Quebec has has those already. So why would they vote for it?
Which now exists in my colleague's writing, her own writing. I went there with my colleague recently, and I met one of my colleague's constituents out of the 14,000 constituents who now receive dental care in her riding. And this person expressed their gratitude, but my colleague voted against that.
Of course they expressed their gratitude. And you have absolutely no proof of this, so of course we just have to take your word for it.
Honourable member for Shefford. The Liberals have a choice. Either they put an end to this two-tier system for seniors, or they are going to have to go to the ballot box to maintain their system.
This is what I mean. Why are the Bloc Québécois talking this way if they are not going to vote no confidence?
We in the Bloc Québécois have opted for justice and fairness. It's time for the Liberals to make a choice. They can put an end to this age-based discrimination, or they can keep trying to promote this unjustifiable discrimination at the ballot box. What are they going to choose? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, once again, my colleague is raising the specter of an election instead of taking concrete action like voting for assistance to Canadian seniors.
The specter of an election. Yeah, no, it's more than just a specter. It's like a train barreling down a tunnel at full steam ahead at you guys. That's
she has not tried to help Quebec seniors ever since she's been here. She's voted against an increase in the guaranteed income supplement. She voted against the dental care plan that is helping 14,000 people in her own riding. She claims to speak on behalf of seniors, but it is the Liberal government that is actually taking action to help our seniors.
Really? Where?
Once again, some voices are very loud and distinctive. I know the member knows who I'm talking about.
Then say it! Why aren't you gonna say it? Holy shit, you pussy, Fergus.
I would invite members not to speak unless they receive the floor.
Don't speak
the honourable member
for
Jonquière. Not only are the Liberals discriminating against seniors, but they are also don't want to sign an agreement with Quebec.
Lovely.
Once again, a cynical attempt to interfere with Quebec's jurisdiction, and seniors are suffering for it. In fact, Quebec's intergovernmental affairs minister said that it's
kind of fucked up. They're not funding the Aging Well at Home program? That is not okay.
That's what the
That
minister
is
said,
disgusting.
not me. That is disgusting. When will the Liberal project to help seniors age at home?
Yeah, it's very important. That's why it's not being funded, right?
The organization, which has a program to broaden the scope of services with more and more volunteers to help seniors who are in a vulnerable position or living in a rural milieu. The government of Quebec is blocking that. My colleague...
But why is it blocking that? What are you hiding? What are you hiding in your bill that they don't like?
Should address his question to the government of Quebec that is blocking the money.
Member from Regina Leuven.
After 9 years of this costly coalition, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, time is up. The NDP Liberal government's reckless policies have forced 2 million people to food banks. Their destructive carbon tax has made it almost impossible for our farmers to make affordable food to put on the tables of Canadians. Canadians want and deserve a carbon tax election. They can decide between the costly coalition or common sense. When will this lame duck Prime Minister call carbon tax elections so Canadians can have their say?
Ooh, lame duck. Ouch.
My members to ensure be careful about making comments about specific members of Parliament. The Honourable Minister of Justice and Attorney General.
Let's review the facts for a moment about the carbon price. The carbon price reduces pollution and puts money back into the pockets of Canadians. In fact, 8 out of 10 families receive more money back than they pay with an increasing price on pollution.
That's a lie.
It is the single best market mechanism known to reduce carbon footprints. We used to
No, it
have
isn't.
a lot of parties in this chamber supporting that price. Unfortunately, we've seen a flip in terms of position by virtue of the leader of the NDP's position. What that does is it signals voter cynicism, but it also signals to progressives, including in my riding of Parkdale High Park, that if you want a party that's going to fight against climate change, your only choice is the Liberal Party of Canada.
Your only choice is the Liberal Party of Canada if you care about the climate. Like, funnel money into it.
The Honourable Member from Regina Leuven.
When a single mother's decided to put milk in the fridge or gas in the car for their children, that answer is going to give them no comfort this winter, Mr. Speaker. The NDP has sold out Canadians. For what, Mr. Speaker? It's time to know the truth. Will the NDP stand with Canadians and make sure that there is a carbon tax election that they want? Or is it true, Mr. Speaker, does the leader of the NDP care more about his pension than what Canadians...
Oh, shit. Bringing that up again because it's true. It's true, though. That's the thing. It's absolutely true that Jagmeet Singh wanted to ensure that his pension was protected. Okay, let's keep going here.
This is a very unusual day. The Honourable Member from Dauphin, Swan River, Neepawa.
After 9 years of the NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime
More
is up,
conservative
time is
talk.
up. But instead of fighting for Canadians, the NDP leaders sold out workers by voting to increase the carbon tax to
they are
61
going
cents
hard
a
on
litre.
Singh today.
In fact, he voted for the carbon tax 24 times. We know the NDP leader is keeping the Prime Minister in power to secure his own pension. So will the Prime Minister listen to Canadians and call a carbon tax election?
I love how most of the question is attacking Singh, and then to make it a like valid question, they just pivot and ask the Liberals about, are you gonna do a carbon tax election? It's great. It's fucking great.
I'm trying to provide being relevant to the administration of government. If I could ask members, please, this is an important time for us to seek accountability from the government.
That's what they're doing. Fuck you.
It's important then to ask questions which are germane to the
They
administration
are
of the
germane.
government,
Holy
as opposed
fuck.
to questions which are better directed in a private conversation or in a public declaration, but not a question.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals just appointed Mark Carney, a millionaire investment banker from Goldman Sachs, to dictate their economic agenda. The Conservatives have lobbyists from Loblaws and Walmart sitting on their front bench and setting
What
policy.
are you talking
New
about?
Democrats are listening.
Didn't Galen Weston just get a whole bunch of money from the Liberals? What are you talking about?
To working Canadians who are experiencing real economic struggles on the ground. Canadians deserve a government that understands their needs and works for them. Why do the Liberals and Conservatives keep putting the interests of elites ahead of hardworking Canadians?
Talk to your leader there, buddy.
Minister for the Environment and Climate Change.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to quote the member from Edmonton Strathcona in June of 2023. And I quote, when economists, journalists, and members of Parliament have made it very clear that the carbon tax is not what is responsible for the cost of food increasing so much. I could also
What
quote,
is it?
Mr. Speaker,
What is responsible then? Oh wait, let me guess. The global crisis that's going on.
Member from Victoria, who, and I quote, the PBO has put out a number of reports that confirms that 80% of Canadians get more money back than they paid. That was in March of 2024, and in September of 2022, the member of Victoria also said the carbon tax is a crucial part of any climate plan.
And they're wrong. I don't know what you want us to say. They're wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Port Moody, Coquitlam.
Indigenous peoples across the country face a horrific housing crisis.
Yep.
Brought on by constant government underfunding rooted in systemic discrimination. The Liberals are holding back 99.8% of the promised housing funding to Indigenous communities. It's shameful. And the Conservatives are no better. They voted over and over again against funding Indigenous housing. When will the Liberals end this discrimination and make sure Indigenous people have the...
Okay, that's a valid question. I'm not going to shit on that.
The Honourable Minister for Indigenous Services.
And this government has been investing in historic
Super
ways.
white lady for the Minister of... Oh my god. Why don't they have a native for this?
Communities across the country. I don't know where the member is getting her information from, but it's incorrect, quite frankly, Mr. Speaker.
No, the real reason that the food prices have gone up is because we haven't given Ukraine and Palestine enough money. Well done, Cannibalistic
all
Wizard.
of our allotment every year on housing. In fact, we have accelerated our expenditures in housing, and we're working with First Nations on solutions that are long-lasting and respectful of their culture and identity.
What a nothing burger answer.
The Honourable Member for Sudbury.
Oh.
As a member of the Standing Committee on National Defence, I hear from experts, members and academics alike about the importance of creating a respectful and professional work environment for the brave men and women of our armed forces. Over the past 2 years, Canadians have watched as Superior Court Justices Arbour and Fish put forward recommendations to modernize Canada's military justice system. Can the Minister of National Defence please update this House on the progress we are making on these very important recommendations?
No, nothing burger question, because the Liberal parties don't ever ask each other, like, important, holding each other to account questions. Good question.
The Honourable Minister for National Defence.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to, of course, thank the member for her very important question. I'm pleased to share with this House that the Military Justice Modernization Act is being debated in the House this week, and among a number of substantive amendments to the National Defence Act, this legislation will codify in law that CAF will no longer have jurisdiction over criminal code offences, sexual offences committed in Canada, and it will increase no longer have jurisdiction over criminal code offences. Legislation will codify in law that CAF will no longer have jurisdiction over criminal code offences, sexual offences committed in Canada, and it will increase the independence of military justice actors.
Mr. Speaker, this is the right thing to do for our people, for our military, and for our country. Let us not engage in political gamesmanship with this important legislation. Let's get it to committee to allow it to do its important work, and let's get it done. Mr. Speaker, people are counting on us.
So he wants to take the Canadian Armed Forces, and they, let's see. These questions need some Viagra. They really do.
The Honourable Member for Mégantic-L'Érable. Another tough day for the Liberal government. The Liberal Prime Minister is so bad for Quebec that his Quebec lieutenant has decided to jump ship in order to be able to defend Quebec better. The leader of the Bloc Québécois, though, wasted no time in applying to become the Prime Minister's new Quebec lieutenant.
Jesus Christ! The Conservative Party is just on fire today with attacking all of the leaders. They just give no fucks.
There was no need to negotiate for long, Mr. Speaker, because the position was open. Here's what we're wondering. Can the Prime Minister tell us when he plans to swear in his new Quebec lieutenant?
Ooh.
And that would be, of course, the Bloc leader, the Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We absolutely cannot count on Conservatives to defend Quebec's interests or the interests of the government of Quebec because they want to cut all supports for daycare, public service, health transfers.
They want to cut... Wow! The lies. They want to cut health transfers? No, they don't. They just don't want pharmacare to be federalized. How is that cutting health transfers? What the fuck are you talking about, lady?
Conservatives, including my Conservative colleague from Quebec, want to cut and slash everything. If they cut, and cut support for Quebecers, how is that good for Quebec? The Honourable Member for Mégantic-L'Érable. Cutting taxes on Quebecers, that's what we're going to cut, Mr. Speaker.
Right?
Now, the Liberal Bloc has not achieved a thing for Quebec. Now the Bloc will support a federal government that's worse for Quebec than any other. A centralizing government that takes money out of Quebecers' pockets to expand its big federal machine. A government that imposes programs in Quebec's areas of jurisdiction and that has created the worst immigration chaos in history.
None of these things are wrong. Like, all of these things that are being said have happened, and we can look at them statistically.
Bringing Quebec to a breaking point. A government that is imposing a job-killing forestry decree. Even the Premier of Quebec is imploring the Liberal Bloc to vote to defeat this bad government. Will the Liberal Bloc listen to Quebec, or will they listen to the centralizing Liberal Prime Minister? The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We will not harm the interests of Quebecers. In fact, the member for Mégantic-L'Érable should perhaps take care of members of his own riding. He should correct the lies of his party leader, who said that there's no dental care program in his riding, but in his...
There is no dental care program because dentists don't even know where the benefits are going to be paid for, who's going to foot the bill. This is crazy.
Riding,
this is
there
insane.
are 11,000 seniors who are signed up, and yet he says that there's no dental care.
You can
program,
sign up, that doesn't mean it exists.
The Honourable Member for Charlebourg-Haute-Saint-Charles. The Bloc leader showed his true colours yesterday when the Bloc committed to supporting the Liberal government. But that won't benefit Quebec in the slightest. They've got no wins for forestry workers, no wins for seniors. That's the Liberal Bloc for you. When will the Prime Minister officially announce that the leader of the Bloc will take on the role of Liberal Lieutenant for Quebec?
Jesus Christ. This is crazy. The Conservative Party is just hammering the NDP and the Bloc Québécois and pointing out how weak they both are. And the Bloc Québécois today seems to be very much in the mindset of, if you don't play ball with the old age security, then there will be an election.
The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement. Well, unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, we can't count on Quebec's the Conservatives' Quebec lieutenant, because a few weeks ago he said money for modern transit said it should go to Quebecers, but then the leader of the party humiliated him and said, don't listen to my Quebec lieutenant, we're going to take that money from Quebec and give that money elsewhere.
That is just not what he said at all. I guarantee you that's not what he said.
So this money doesn't belong to the Conservative Party or to the Conservative leader. It belongs to the Quebecers, and we would use that money to help Quebecers.
Bravo! Bravo!
The Honourable Member for Charlebourg-Haute-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, I represent a riding in Quebec, and I'm the political lieutenant for Quebec, and I'm proud to defend the interests of Quebecers. They want the third link. Meanwhile, the temporary lieutenant who's waiting for the Bloc Québécois leader to replace him as lieutenant does not want that. So the government has asked the Bloc to support them, but the National Assembly doesn't want that support. Yet the Bloc's been supporting them for 9 years.
That's again, facts. Nothing that's been said is wrong.
The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement. Well, if he's often in Quebec, then my colleague, who is his party's Quebec lieutenant, should have heard on Radio Canada recently what his party's leader has said. He said that the Canada Dental Care Plan does not exist.
It doesn't.
Meanwhile, in his own riding, there are 10,500 seniors who have benefited from the dental care plan.
How can you prove that they've actually gone and gotten their teeth looked at and taken care of and not paid for it as a result of your dental plan? Because as of like 6 months ago, my dentist sent out letters saying, yeah, there's a thing that exists that the government made, but we haven't been, like, no insurers are know if they're picking it up. We don't know who's picking up the tab. We don't know where to submit our bill. We don't know, like, that doesn't. This is crazy.
So, you know, the Conservative Party leader is a liar.
There's no existence of it. Call him out.
Ça, c'est une déclaration qui n'est pas.
That is non-parliamentary.
Yep.
Non-parliamentary language.
Thank you. Thank you for that. You cannot call somebody a liar, and if they're gonna make the Conservatives withdraw that shit, then that needs to be withdrawn.
I encourage the member to withdraw his non-parliamentary language. I apologize, Mr. Speaker, for my use of non-parliamentary language. The Honourable Member for Lac-Saint-Jean. The drastic increase in temporary immigration that the Liberals have allowed is causing serious problems for provision of public services. Let's take a look at what's happening right now with asylum seekers. There are 4 provinces refusing to help Quebec by taking in their fair share of asylum seekers.
4 provinces that are refusing to take in asylum seekers, because there's probably so many of them. There's probably like a ridiculous amount of asylum seekers that there's probably more than necessary. And these temporary foreign workers that are coming in are taking everybody's jobs.
4 Conservative premiers, Mr. Speaker, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Saskatchewan, and Alberta.
Yeah.
These are Conservative
Why?
premiers
Does
who
that
are
make
forcing
them
Quebecers
racist?
to take in a disproportionate share of asylum seekers.
How about that? Don't blame the Conservative provinces for not taking them in. Blame the Liberal government for bringing them in and dumping them in Quebec in the first place.
The Conservative leader tell his gang of Conservative premiers to stop overburdening
Gang
Quebecers.
of Conservative yes, they're a gang. They're with their racism and xenophobia.
According to the immigration minister, is that because the Conservative leader agrees with his gang of Conservative premiers?
Holy shit,
the Honourable
again
Minister
with the
of
word,
Immigration Citizen question. Here's my answer. Where there's smoke, there's fire. The honourable member for Lac Saint-Jean.
Oh shit! Holy fuck the infighting! Holy shit the infighting! This is nuts. The Bloc and the Liberals are shooting back and forth at each other. The NDP and the Liberals are shooting back and forth at each other. The Conservatives are pointing out that the Bloc and the Liberals and the NDP are completely fucked. This is a mess.
In the spring, the Liberals promised a plan for sharing asylum seekers among the provinces. Well, here we are. It's fall now, and there is no plan, Mr. Speaker. There is no plan. But despite all that, the Conservatives are trying to sabotage the plan before it even exists. Caught in the middle of all this are Quebecers, Mr. Speaker, Quebecers whose public services are overstretched. Asylum seekers can't meet their basic needs in a Quebec whose intake capacity has been exceeded. When will the Liberals and Conservatives understand that their irresponsibility is hurting both Quebecers and asylum seekers? The Honourable Minister of Immigration, Citizenship and Refugees. Mr. Speaker, we all have responsibility. We all have a responsibility to show humanitarian compassion toward asylum seekers. Now, some provinces are playing politics at the expense of asylum.
Live in those provinces, don't have adequate supports for themselves, and then you bring in hundreds of thousands of people from other countries who also need support. Yeah, no, that's playing politics when the provinces say no, we can't afford this. We're not taking any in. That's totally playing politics. Yeah.
But we will continue to work with provinces to ensure that all provinces do their fair share. Yes, Ontario and Quebec have taken on a disproportionate share, but we will make things fairer.
Shit, a disproportionate share. That is the biggest understatement I think I've heard today. I think that's the biggest understatement.
The Honourable Member for Chicoutimi-Le-Fjord. Mr. Speaker, it was interesting to have the chance to talk to forestry workers yesterday. 400 jobs, at least. If were in power, we wouldn't be talking about this decree. That's why I don't understand why the Bloc Québécois is keeping the Liberals in power without negotiating to have the decree cancelled.
That's a very good point. Why are the Bloc propping up the Liberals with this whole forestry debacle going on? The Liberal Party is actively trying to kill the forestry industry in Quebec, which is a huge...
need the forestry sector and need forestry work. And Climate Change Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to remind my colleague that in 2013, the Harper government used the same emergency decree to protect a species. It wasn't
1,400 jobs and stopping forestry. How is that the same decree as stopping the killing of an animal?
You know, I've met with forestry workers. They've testified at the Environment Committee. We've heard from environmental experts. They tell us that we need to protect the forest in order to protect forestry jobs. It's the only party that doesn't understand that is the Conservative Party. The Honourable Member for Chicoutimi-Le-Fjord. Mr. Speaker, the cost of living, inflation, interest rates, Quebecers already have enough to deal with. Yet, the Minister of the Environment wants to make life even harder for forestry workers by imposing his disastrous decree. Many forestry workers are worried. They wonder why he's going after them. Meanwhile, the Bloc Québécois, which claims to defend Quebecers, is supporting the Liberals by giving them their vote of confidence without even negotiating to have the decree overturned.
Yeah. They're just blindly falling into step with the Liberals and not fighting for their constituents, not going, hey, don't kill this forestry industry, don't kill these jobs, you're gonna really hurt Quebecers.
Will the minister think about the people behind all this and guarantee that he will not impose his decree? This summer, we consulted hundreds of ecologists, First Nations, many consultations.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
We will go ahead with our decree, but if they want us to cancel it, then...
Caribou Habitat Protection Plan. This is all to protect caribou? Don't caribou... What? Jesus Christ, this is all for fucking caribou protection? Seriously?
They said they would do so. They committed to producing a plan. They haven't done so, but they didn't. So we needed to step in to protect both the environment and jobs. The Honourable Member for Beauce. Mr. Speaker, not only is the Bloc helping to keep the Liberals in power, but the Bloc is also blocking important committee work in order to protect the Prime Minister. Hiring carbon tax Carney is a conflict of interest. The Bloc is willing to allow Carney to further his corporate interests without being accountable to Parliament.
True.
He should be required to appear before the committee to answer to Canadians.
But they're not going to do that because they don't want they don't want Carney to step into an actual public office holding position, because then he will have to disclose where all of his money comes from and goes.
Why doesn't Mr. Carney take a public service position, one that can be reviewed by the Ethics Committee? Why doesn't he do that?
Interesting
Thank
that
you,
Trudeau
Mr.
and Chrystia
Speaker.
Freeland aren't
It's always
there
the
today.
same with Conservatives. Canadians want to contribute to Canada, but don't have the Conservatives' partisan view of things. And then what does the Conservative Party do? Attack them. It's disrespectful and
Wait, the
inappropriate in our
Conservative Party is attacking Canadians that don't share their partisan view? Really? I'm pretty sure I remember it was either Chrystia Freeland or Trudeau yesterday that said that all of the Canadians that make up the Conservative Party don't understand how the carbon tax works. So he basically called any Canadian that was a member of the Conservative Party stupid.
Democracy. We can disagree with one another without attacking Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
From Dartmouth, Cole Harbour.
While the Conservatives attempt to block energy jobs for Nova Scotians and stand against prosperity for Atlantic Canada, our Liberal government is working hard to reduce energy costs while ensuring good jobs for Nova Scotians today and into the future.
How do these people lie so easily? I don't understand.
Can the Minister of Energy inform this House of our plan to protect Nova Scotians from an expensive power rate increase?
I've heard
The
caribou
Honourable
is
Minister
tasty.
for Natural-
I have not eaten caribou. I've had deer and I've had moose. I find that I like deer a bit better than moose. I find moose a bit tough and a bit more gamey. But if you get a good deer, like a nice, and it's a good roast, like a good deer roast, then it's nice and tasty, I find.
Natural resources and energy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I would like to thank the member from Dartmouth Cole Harbour for his ongoing excellent work in the province of Nova Scotia.
Yeah,
I
kiss
was in
each other's
Halifax
asses.
earlier this week to announce the negotiation of a $500 million loan guarantee with Nova Scotia Power. That will take the projected rate of increase in electricity rates in Nova Scotia from what was going to be 19% next
spend
year
more
to
money.
the rate of inflation. It is an important step forward that the federal government is working to ensure affordability with respect to energy on a go-forward basis. We need to work to ensure affordability, reliability, and a non-emitting grid in every province and territory in this country.
Yes, kiss each other's asses.
The Honourable Member from Kamloops, Thompson Carver.
After 9 years, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time is up. Mr. Speaker, let's play some Jeopardy!
Okay, here we go. This will be good.
All have conflicts of interest for $1,000, Mr. Speaker. Answer. This person is
Mark
advising
Carney.
the Prime Minister while also negotiating a $10 billion contract with his own company. He's also not subject to conflict of interest rules. The correct response would be, who is Carbon Tax Carney? Why is it that these Liberals want to pad the pockets of insiders and play Canadians for fools while enriching their own best friend?
That's a pointed question, and it's allowed.
The government in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I guess that member opposite will only get half his gold star from the leader today because all he did was announce the slogans, but he forgot
Oh, wow.
to attack the other political parties.
Jesus Christ, really? That's how you're gonna answer Really? That's okay.
Mr. Speaker, when it comes to eminent Canadians who do not share
This is insane.
the vision of the Conservatives, what do? They attack them. Mr. Speaker, there's
No,
a
that's
diversity
you.
of views in this
That's
country.
your
And whether
party.
you agree with people or not doesn't mean that you should denigrate their character. Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives should be ashamed of how they
Sorry,
treat
wasn't it your boss that said that Pierre Poilievre wants to hurt Canadians?
their fellow Canadians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Kamloops, Thompson Caribou.
Did she actually just say we should be ashamed about how we treat our fellow Canadians? The reality is that
Colleagues.
Children.
Colleagues.
Children.
It's very,
Children,
very
it's
important.
very important.
The best way to keep personal tax out of this is to, frankly, not take the floor when you're not recognized by the speaker.
Don't speak when you're not spoken to. Children. You should be seen and not heard.
And then that way, we don't have unfortunate comments that I'm certain that outside of this place, when you're downstairs in the room somewhere or talking to each other as real people, you would regret.
I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that any of the things that are said right now that would be said outside of that room would be regretted by anybody. I really don't think that.
The honourable member from Kamloops, Thompson Caribou, from the top, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That answer speaks about shame. These Liberals should be ashamed for the way they are squandering Canadians' money while people are lined up at the food bank day after day. That answer tells us another day at the office, another Liberal scandal, no big deal. This is a Liberal government that is long on entitlements and short on ethics. Carbon tax Carney started advising the Prime Minister. Shortly after, one of his best friends got a $2 billion government. Why is this government lining pockets of its friends while Canadians line up at food banks?
He meant to say a $2 million contract, but that's fine.
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of
Mr.
Commons.
Speaker, if that member wants to talk about entitlements, he should talk to the leader of his party who has a calculated $2 million pension, who lives in government housing, while at the same time...
All of you guys live in government housing and have pensions. What are you... What? You're sitting here, you shitting on Poilievre for having a pension. All of you have a pension. What? Well, our pensions are fine, but that guy over there has a pension and he's a horrible man. So therefore his pension is bad.
Looking to cut the pensions of Canadians, raise the age of retirement from 65 to 67, and cut the Canada Child Benefit and other benefits that help
The
Canadians.
Canada Child Benefit that the Conservatives created and called the Canada Child Tax Benefit. Right? That one?
Mr. Speaker, if he wants to talk to entitlements...
The Honourable Member from Lakewood.
After 9 years of these NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime's up, and time's up, but this fake feminist Prime Minister is still up to his old tricks. Like so many women before, he shoved aside his female finance minister for his rich conflict of interest carbon tax crony, Carney, to take over. Carbon tax Carney will slap the carbon tax right back on home heating oil and let Canadians freeze in the dark this winter. He can afford those taxes, but they can't. Why is the finance minister letting herself be humiliated like this?
That's a very good question.
The Honourable Minister for Diversity, Inclusion and Youth.
Oh, wow! Of course the DEI minister fucking answers the question. That's funny. That is too ironic.
won't take any lessons from the party opposite when it comes to fighting for equality in this country. Mr. Speaker, they were against $10 a day childcare. These are the
Yeah, because $10 a day childcare is a horrible idea.
cuts that they want to make, Mr. Speaker. They want to ensure and they support backdoor legislation that actually would ban abortions and take away women's rights.
Why are you lying? Why are you lying? And also, there's nothing in our charter that says we have the right to an abortion. What the fuck are you talking about? And also, that's a provincial thing. You get your abortions, like, it's provincial, because that's healthcare. Why are you lying?
Speaker. Or, Mr. Speaker, the fact that their leader uses misogynistic hashtags in their videos to ensure he had MGTOW in like a few of his videos, found out what it was, and fucking removed it a year ago. Who hate women. Mr. Speaker, we won't take any lessons from them when it talks to ensuring that we support women in this country.
You're insane.
The honourable member from Calgary Skyview.
Mr. Speaker, this summer, I, like many Canadians, watched in horror as wildfires ravaged the municipality of Jasper and Jasper National Park. Jasperites are strong and resilient, and despite the devastation, we will rebuild stronger than before. I was able to visit the Wildfire Command Center in Jasper with the Prime Minister, Minister of Employment, and Mayor of Jasper. Can the Minister of Employment update Canadians how our government is supporting residents and businesses in Jasper?
Can you kiss my butt and tell me how good of a question I just asked you?
Good question.
They don't like you there. They don't like you here either.
Oh.
The honourable minister, rather.
Mr. Speaker, I had the opportunity as a kid to go to Jasper with my grandparents and my parents, and this July I visited Jasper and witnessed the devastation firsthand. And I want to thank
What a very sad story that was. What a very happy start and a very sad end. That's very nice.
The bottom of my heart, all of the first responders that made sure that the destruction wasn't even worse. Mr. Speaker, we have a historic opportunity to help Jasperites recover and rebuild faster. We have an act to amend the Canada National Parks Act, which will get the powers that the mayor needs in his hands. I urge every single party in this House to vote this motion in.
Vote this motion in. I can't speak normally.
The honourable member from Courtenay, Alberni.
Mr. Speaker, communities across the country are in crisis. They don't have the resources they need to support people who are struggling with trauma, mental health, and substance use disorders. But the Liberals keep delaying support. Today, the Nuu-chah-nulth Nations declared a state of emergency. They're pleading for federal help. This comes after every single substance use and addictions program application that they applied for was denied.
Holy fuck. That is horrible. That is absolutely disgusting that an Indigenous nation would apply for addictions help and every single application and every single program is denied.
What more will it take for the Liberals to finally provide the mental health resources that these nations desperately need?
Here, here.
The Honourable Minister for Mental Health and Addictions.
Mr. Speaker, we know that across this country, the illegal toxic drug supply is taking the lives of loved ones every single day.
It's not just the illegal toxic drug supply, it's the pharmaceutical grade drug supply that you guys have in your safe injection sites. That's more of the problem.
That is why in Budget 2024, this government pledged to work directly with communities through the Emergency Treatment Fund, $150 million, Mr. Speaker, over the next 3 years to work directly with communities like the ones the member discussed, because we know we need to be there to save lives, Mr. Speaker. And that
thank you for your donation. You've got horrible drinking water. You're all addicted to drugs, but thank you for your donation.
That is exactly what we will be doing.
The Honourable Member for Richmond Arthabaska. Mr. Speaker, I asked questions on October 23rd and February 8th about the problems that Canadians applying for greener home grants are experiencing. In my riding alone, there are 20 constituents still awaiting federal payment, even though they have already done the spending and the construction work has already been completed.
Oh, that's lovely. So they're not being rebated for the stuff that they were told that they would be rebated for.
This in Quebec is handled between 2 and 6 months, but in Canada, federally, if people are lucky, it can be handled in maybe 18 months.
Oh,
Can the minister tell us how and when this unacceptable situation will be fixed once and for all? The Honourable Natural Resources and Energy Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Green Building Fund is very important. It's important because it will improve building efficiency, all while bringing down greenhouse gas emissions. Many Canadians have received government payments from the federal government. If constituents in his riding are experiencing issues, I'm very open to discussing
that with your colleague.
Perhaps together we can find a solution.
All the time we have for question period today.
And holy fuck, was that an insane... This is getting crazy. We are seeing so much infighting within the parties that I am getting kind of flabbergasted here, and it's very interesting to see what is happening between the Bloc Québécois, the Liberals, the NDP, the Liberals, and the Conservatives, and everybody else. I really do wonder if the Bloc Québécois is going to actually vote confidence in this government if the old age security question is not answered, and the asylum seekers thing is not dealt with. Otherwise, I really think that they may vote no confidence, and we might see an election this fall. Something that I will be keeping an eye on, and there will be question period tomorrow. I'm pretty sure. We'll see. I don't know. They may go home. They may go home tomorrow, of course. But we are going to end this here, I think, and I am going to go make sure that my kids go to sleep, and I shall be back later for some combat hour on Twitch. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. I will see you guys later tonight.